Hi guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video of mine. Thank you, I am Abdul. Today we're going to be putting in the CCZ engine back into a VW Golf Mark 6, but it also goes into an Audi A3 as well. So please stay tuned, CCZ engine going back into a car. Hey guys, this takes a long time for me to do, especially now being COVID-19 by myself. I'm camera brewing and I'm putting it all back in as well. So please don't forget to like and subscribe. It only takes you a second to hit those notifications and it'll help me so I could carry on doing all this for you guys as well. What we've done with this one, basically, I've got my pallet, I've jacked it up in place. And I'll just show you guys. I've got the engine mount on this side, placed in the groove in the middle. So as soon as it goes into that groove, you just put in the 2 screws and just keep jacking it in, and then that should just spin in nice and easy. It's not one might get caught, you just have to keep pushing it back and forward. And now the gearbox once, so we go in there and we could just shoot that all in, and once we shoot that in place, engine is good to go. So what I've done before I did all of that, the catalytic converter, if you can see up here guys, I just put a zip tie so it didn't get caught, and I just zipped it up here. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to shoot these 3 in so the engine's in place, move the ramp out the way, and then we could be on our way to putting the engine, building it back all together. Now with the extension bar guys, I'm just going to torque these down a little, but you can see if I move my trolley jack, that's all secured now. So with the engine mounts, to hold it in place, with the engine mount that goes onto the bone here, and with the gearbox mount, it's got the dog mount that goes onto the shield of it. That's how these Audi A3 VW Golfs engines go back into place. So guys, now the top's been stabilized. Now we need to put this bottom dog mount on and stabilize it from the bottom. So we're just going to go ahead and do that now. Good idea to find your bolts, screw them in by hand first, and get your tool. In action. Just this one. Put it in slowly. There. That's all tight now, guys. Okay, now this is all secured. I've moved my pallet out the way. So the main thing what this does is brings the engine back forward and puts it in the exact place where it should need to be, and it secures it from the bottom. So if one of the engine mounts that we put in the bolts earlier were to collapse, this is what saves it from dropping. So this, after you've put it in, just torque it down to the correct spec, and just hand tightened it till I know it was strong. So now the engine's all secure to work on. So I'm going to work from the top I'm going to put in the manifold at the top and the bulkhead wiring, and then I'm going to go from there. Like when I was taking out this engine, this catalytic converter, 2 bolts go at the bottom here. As you can see, one there, one there. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to tighten them up and then get it from the top and then come back and tighten them up again later. But I'm just going to hand tighten them for now. And you need to have this off so you can wiggle it into space and then put these 2 bolts back in. So guys, I'm going to be getting that bolt in there and that in there, and then I've got 2 more to do at the bottom, and then I can carry on putting all of these bulkhead wires in. So okay guys, I hand torqued it all down, all 3 bolts, just one left at the far corner. Now I've cleared the whole way so I can work around this area here. One for the bottom, one inlet, one outlet, and then we got this pipe here. I push it into there. We could put this catalytic converter, slide that back in here now. So what I'm trying to do is basically focusing on one area at a time. So once I could get this out of the way, this area here, then I can move back around and carry on with a different area. When you get this one in, you got to really push it in as hard as you can. You click that bottom one in, see if it doesn't come out. Then the top one, same again. These 2 pipes have been done. This will be really forced in. You've got to keep squeezing this one forward in. And then what I got left here is this throttle body, this map sensor, and then it goes through here. One of these, and that goes through here. Underneath, sit like that. And I could do it the opposite way like this. And go there. And this is for the throttle. So now next, we got the gearbox linkage here. This gearbox linkage, it comes through this gap there, and then you really need to push it forward, get your little bolt on that puts it in place forwards, and then find a little gap there, push that forward. You need a little hammer. There. That holds that in place. This has come back out. Do it a bit. And then you put that in through this device here, and that's a 10mm or a M8 square, and you just tighten that bolt down there. So once we've did that and tightened this bolt down, there's just one little circlip that I'm missing here that needs to just go over that, and that's the whole gearbox section done. The heater matrix, the catalytic converter, this wire needs to get pushed back in. It's a nuisance, this one is. And then there's this wire here, so now I can work backwards and move along here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to move along to the left hand side and tackle that area first, and then I'm going to come back and tackle all this wiring. These valves, they have a lot of water junctions, so if you watch my previous episode, there's this one that runs all the way back through to the bulkhead and it runs back through to the left side. So what I've noticed is this is broken, so it's worth checking everything. I'm just gonna replace this one. I've got another one in stock. I can book it down there ready. Okay guys, as you just seen, we swapped out this pump. These are a bit stubborn, but you'll get there eventually. Different ways of doing it, and you get them on. There's only two sensors here that we need to deal with. I'm going to deal with this side a bit later on. I'm missing my water bottle, so now just double checked everything. It's good to check everything over and over before you put anything back in with an engine anyway. If you see my previous episode, these pipings, I just went back and checked over everything, checked everything was all good, everything seemed fine. So now this is where the puzzle begins. All this wiring, I'm going to get it back, going back to the ECU. All these wirings, I'm going to put them in place, put them as accurately as possible, plug in which ones I know go where, and we'll see what's left and we go from there. So when you've got so much wiring, it can be a bit confusing, but what you need to do is start splitting them out and seeing where things are going. Like for example, that bundle here is like for the gearbox side, so I'm going to throw that across there and I'm going to leave that there because I know that's going along there. And then the engine ECU is going to run through this tunnel here, so whatever you can, just move out of the way. Like for example, these ones here, I know that's to do with radiator and all that, so I just put that aside here, so it's a bit less confusing. So now I could work on the things that I need to work on. So now this engine ECU one, it's got this thing right there. You run it right through that one there. So when that closes, it's got a closing point there. So now that would run back up through here and all the way back into the ECU chamber. So we'll just go ahead and do that now. So guys, we've allocated all the wiring and we've threaded that along there. We've not put everything in place yet. We're just wondering if there's any wires that are missing, but if you look at that, all of that's been located, they all go in places here, sit in their places, dedicated places. That runs through there, that runs through there, that goes on, sits in here, that sits there. All of this wiring is for the radiator fan and headlights, and that's the headlight one, things like that. And then one of these ones will just go into this one here. How you could tell as well sometimes if you get confused, the nearest one that's got no connection, the shape is like 4 pins, so there's no 4 pins around here, and the only 4 pin one is this one here. So it's like a puzzle, guys. So I'm sure when you put your head and time into it, you figure it out. Unless you mark them all, then it's all good for you. You could take all day, but doing it, it just comes. It's like a puzzle. It all fits in place. If you have a look, it's all been tidied up. The puzzle all comes together. That goes and sits in there. That goes and sits on the top there. You see everything's got its own groove space. That one, you'll see goes and sits in there. The starter runs along here, goes and clamps into there. Then you see this will go underneath, goes through the back there, and then this other wire, this one here, that runs the alternator. It comes up here. It's got a little clip that goes and clips in there, goes through there, and then we put that 10mm in there. And the ECU one is to run all the way through. We put that in, we've clipped that down, and then you see when you know it's in its right place, it's got a little white tab like that, and the groove in there. And it just goes and sits in. You see, put that in, and then shut that up. And next we go on to this part here. But we could bolt these in. We could bolt that one in, and that one will go into there. So now we need to put in this ECU wire. So we need to remove this area here. Moving along to the left side here, this fuel line that goes from the high pressure system goes to the back one here, and then this one from the charcoal canister, it goes to the front one here. This one here, you just squeeze that in and push down, and that would be in place. And with that one here, you just clip it till you hear that clip. Get this, put it on there, and now we're ready to put our water back in. So the piping on this side is the fuel line here, and the canister return there. So as soon as we do this piping now, to buy a new bottle, we just put that in, and I could say all of the top is being done. That's clipped in, that's all in. Let's get the screw, put the two screws in there. All of this left side's all done now, guys, to the block. Only thing left is when I put on the front frame, that's for all of the aircon, a bit of wiring for the front end there. But everything at the top for the blocks been going back to the car has been done. If you have a look left to right, now I'm ready to go to the bottom. That's the last bolt from the bottom. You go in underneath this drive shaft and you tighten it, and that's the last bolt, because I did all the other three from the top, but you could go ahead and check this one too and see if it could be any more tighter. The last one, but that feels very tight to me. So now what we're going to do, guys, is put this drive shaft back on both sides, and everything else is being done. We'll check this oil, see if it's tight, so we can put the oil in. And this obviously here, this oil pressure line, this goes underneath here. And it goes into there. So all we're going to do first is put in the drive shaft. Okay guys, so we've done all down here, the drive shaft, both sides, and now we get this wiring here, and you just put it through this little gap here, lift it up so it's in place there, and then you just go ahead and put in your oil sensor till it clips into place. Okay, that's that. And now we're just going to tighten this up, and we're all done down here, nothing else needs to be done. So that's just the drive shafts and this oil line, double check everything, and we'll put on the covers later after we should check for any leaks or anything like that. We got to see if any leaks occur, but all we need to do is tighten up this oil. This, you see, when we put in the oil, nothing comes back out. So we could go back to the top now. This intercooler pipe's very important, guys, so just make sure it's on there correctly. So you have to line up with that and that on there, and then you'll see it be pushed all the way in, and then you get your clip and put it down, otherwise this will leak. So just make sure you fasten this down properly, and then you could get your extension and put it in this way. The automatic gearboxes, the earth wire goes on top here and it gets grounded there, so this black wire here needs to be put on as well. All the coil packs are out, left them laying at the top here. Now we're going to blow some oil pressure. So all these coil pack ignitions out. It's going to tighten up this battery. Okay guys, you need to do that for about 20 seconds and then put this back in. them in place, check everything over thoroughly, and then we could give it a crank. That radiator and radiator fan was the last piece of the jigsaw to fit all together now. The radiator front panel, now I could build it all together and we're ready to go ahead and put this on. It was missing this, now we have it. So now we could finish this project off to see if we could hear it start and run. So stay tuned guys. We need to put the front frame on and the front bumper, but what we're going to do first is just put on the front frame, attach all these air conditioning piping, these two here, the bottom intercooler on each side, and the two radiator, and lock it into place with the 4 bolts that go on each side and one at the top here, each side. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that, but before that we're going to build the radiator pack up. So basically when I did take it off originally guys, I took it off exactly how you see it with the headlights, everything on. So I'm going to put it back on exactly how you see it. All I did was radiator pack. So if you could see behind there, there's the radiator fan now and the radiator, and then you got the air conditioning one squeezed in there, and then you got the intercooler all holding it all on. So I took it off with the headlights, everything on the frame itself, on the slam panel, and I'm just going to bolt it back in now. All 4 of the bolts on each side being secured, these 16 mils, so this front frame's all safe. Now we put the 2 at the top in, and this is not going to go nowhere no more. So now what we need to do is raise it up, start putting back all the piping back into place, slot it in place, and after that we'll be ready to give it a start. 1 pipe, 2, 3 up there. We got the radiator fan we need to connect down here, and we got the 2 air conditioning pipes we need to do up here. Just have to feed it all through into its right places, and after that we should be fine. We got 1 pipe up here to do the intercooler, and that's it on this side. We got a few more bits to do on the left hand side. Done everything at the bottom, we come to the top. There's only 1 pipe at the top that we need to do. Push this in and then clip that down. We're going to put the headlight switches in. After we start it, what other sensors there might come on the headlight. You need to push this headlight one all the way in till you hear it click, and you'll hear it click. And you're going to do the same for this side. There's nothing at the top here on this side here except this sensor down here and the headlight switch. Again, this crash sensor here. Once it's in place, you just hit that red tab up. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just put some water in with some antifreeze, and we're going to be ready to start this vehicle. So we got the antifreeze in, water all in. Just put the battery back in. We're just going to leave this one out for a second, and got the compression built up. So here we go guys, we're going to go on, see if the engine starts. let's go and I'll give it a go, guys. Okay, hit the immobilizer. Okay, foot on the brake. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Oh yes, there we go, guys. I'm going to be looking for any leaks. There's no signs. Looking for any leaks. We're going to leave the top off so we can bleed the system. And we're just looking for generally any leaks. Leaks or any drips or drops. But it sounds good. There's no signs on the dash. So every pipe that we put in, we just need to go back and check over, let it run for about 5 minutes. Look underneath here, guys. So we're looking for any leaks on the joints, anything, any oil leaks. Any leaks around here on the sump note. At the back here, we're looking at that heater matrix up there. Check for that. Out there, working fine. And then seems okay.